is up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be covering all things competing. I hope that this video helps you, and as always, if it does, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and smile. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of you have probably just stumbled across my YouTube video and you're like, who is this girl? So I'm going to give you a quick little rundown about myself. So I've competed in 3 bikini competitions so far. I do the WBFF, and the 3 competitions I've done have been the WBFF in the Gold Coast May, this year, last year, and the year before. In my first year, there were 60 girls on stage, and I had first call-outs, which was amazing. All I wanted to do with that competition was to step on stage and just see if I liked it. Sure enough, I was addicted. From the moment I stepped on that stage, I knew it wasn't going to be the last time. The second time I went back, which was last year, I stepped on stage an incredible lineup of amazing girls that looked insane, and I couldn't even believe it, but I managed to place second. And that was incredible because my only goal was to be better than I was the last year. And then this year I stepped on stage and it was another insane lineup. There were 100 bikini girls. They had to split us up into 4 classes. I was in medium tall and I placed third, and honestly everyone on that stage looked amazing, as everyone does in every competition. Like, everyone that steps on that stage absolutely deserves to shine up there, and it's just incredible. It's such an amazing experience, and I can't recommend it more if you are thinking about doing it. I hope that this video helps you, and I'm going to try and give you as much information as I can. So I think that it's only fair for me to kind of talk about the WBFF in terms of competing, because I've never competed in any other federation. No other federation actually appeals to me. Before seeing the WBFF, I pretty much had said I would never compete because I wasn't interested in it. But when I saw the WBFF online and I met a few of the pros, I kind of just thought, wow, this is insane. Like, these girls look so good, it looks so glamorous, everyone seems really nice, I want to try it. And so I did. The first thing I want to say is I think that it's really important to establish a strong why. Why do you want to compete? There's a lot of different reasons out there why someone would want to compete. For me personally, it was all about stepping outside of my comfort zone and challenging myself. I'd been training for a few years. I had never really seen my abs because I hadn't stuck to like a nutrition plan for shredding. I just liked lifting weights and kind of ate whatever I wanted. So for me, it was about giving myself a good goal to work towards and to really like lean down for, and have a set date in which I would need to look a certain way. So for me, that's what it was about. It wasn't about competing with anyone else. It wasn't about, I guess, fixing myself. I think a lot of people think, you know, they need to look a certain way to be on social media, or maybe competing will help their personal training business or their online business. For me, it wasn't about that, because back then I wasn't even doing online coaching or anything. I just wanted to challenge myself and have some fun doing that. Once I stepped on the stage, I absolutely loved it. Everyone backstage was so friendly. I met lots of friends, and I just knew I wanted to do it again. So come the second time, I went into it really wanting to kind of like be better on my prep, like to kind of cheat less and to really track my macros better and to take things to the next level. So that created Anjulie 2.0. And Anjulie 2.0 did so much better than Anjulie 1.0 in terms of I didn't gain a whole lot of weight after my second competition. So for my first competition, I binged so much, I lost control. I gained about 8 kilos in I think like 2 months. And then after my second show, I wanted to be better. So after my second show, I was a little bit better. And then for my third show, I really wanted to create a whole new Anjulie. So Anjulie 3.0, which meant no binging during my prep, no binging after my prep, and just really controlling all things to do with my nutrition, which I did. I also had a much healthier prep in terms of way less cardio. I only introduced cardio in the last few weeks leading up to my competition, and the cardio was HIIT based, so I wasn't doing hours on a treadmill or a Stairmaster or anything like that. So that's kind of a little bit of a background between like the stages of my journey while competing. With my why, the why for why I like to step on stage is, one, because I want to challenge myself. I always want to be better than the time before, whether that's pre-comp, during comp, post-comp. So for my third time on stage, one of my other goals was to nail my posing, which meant that I needed to practice posing much more so that I knew when I stepped on that stage, there was no way I was going to screw it up. I stepped on that stage and I shined. I absolutely nailed it this year, and I'm really proud of that because it just shows that the hard work paid off for me, and I remembered it and I smashed it and I loved my routine. Discover your why. Really think about why you want to do it. If it's not because you truly deep down want to do it, if you think it's best for you to do because that's what everyone else is doing, then I feel as if you're not really going to enjoy your prep and you're not going to enjoy the whole journey of getting to the stage. A really common question I get asked about is the cost of competing. I'm not gonna lie, like competing in the WBFF isn't cheap. You need nice heels, a really fancy bikini, a dress for the night round, tan, hair, makeup, registration costs, and then if you're not doing a local show, you've got to think about your flights and accommodation as well as the food, like the meal prep, the gym, the supplements that go in leading you up to that show day. So it can cost you like a few $1,000s. For me personally, go to Australia while trying to budget. Like I didn't ever buy a dress, I rented a dress. It can cost you like $5,000 or so. So I think it's really important to be aware that this is not a cheap sport to be involved in, and you need to kind of budget around how you're going to pay for everything. Oh, I also forgot a coach. Coaches can cost thousands, especially if you need help with your nutrition, your training, as well as your posing. So when it comes to choosing what show you're going to do and what federation you're going to do, I personally chose the WBFF because it's so glam. No other federation appealed to me. I saw the body type and I was like, you know what, I like that shape, that's what I want to do. Simple as that. If you are torn about what federation you want to do, why don't you start looking at shows around your hometown or in your own country so that you can kind of see what's out there, look at photos, look at what other girls are doing, and just kind of get a gauge for what you're most interested in. When it comes to choosing a show, I went for Gold Coast, Australia because WBFF wasn't in New Zealand. It's only just coming to New Zealand this year. It was never an option, so I knew I had to go overseas to compete, and I just chose that one because I like the Gold Coast and I thought I could have a weekend away when I do it. But choosing a local show for your first show would probably be the most cost effective, as well as the best in terms of limiting your stress, because you don't have to worry about flights or hotel or finding a gym when you get there or meal prep. You can just have like everything in your hometown and keep to your normal routine. I think it's important to note the effect that comp prep has on your emotions as well as your relationships. It doesn't matter how good your coach is or how good your prep is. After a while of being so consistent with your nutrition and your training, the dieting lifestyle will take a toll on your emotions and it will take a toll on your relationship, especially if you're one like me that can get hangry. Ross has had to put up with quite a bit from me, mainly in my first and second show, because as you do more shows, you get kind of more confident in your prep, and it gets, I wouldn't say easier because it's still a challenge, but it does get a little bit easier, and you get better at handling your emotions, and eating out and things like that become less of kind of a stressor for you. Ross had to deal with me being a little bit snappy around my first and second show because it's a lot of pressure. Like, to know that you're going to be stepping on stage in front of hundreds of people in a bikini is like a nerve-wracking kind of feeling. I just want you to be aware of this, that it's totally normal, but you need to ensure that the ones around you know what you're going through. Like, explain to them that you're struggling. Don't just be snappy with them and expect them to kind of cope with it and understand, because at the end of the day, you are choosing to compete, and you need to realize that that's your choice and they don't have to suffer through your moods and your behavior because of a decision that you consciously chose to compete. I know that sounds really tough, but you just have to realize that competing isn't easy and it's not always going to be smooth sailing. There will be times where you don't want to go to the gym, or you want to go and eat donuts with the girls and you can't. Or it might be that you have a family dinner and you just have to eat your meal prep instead of eating the delicious dessert. Been there, like, you know, these are all very relatable things to me. But I know that when I choose to do a competition, my goal is to be the best version of myself and to give it everything that I have. And my only competition is myself. So I'm not looking at what anyone else is doing. I am looking at what I'm doing, what I did last time, and how I can be better. Following on from this, I just want to stress the fact that it is always you versus you. I understand that it's competition, but there is no one that you are truly competing against other than yourself. If your only goal is to step on stage and beat every other girl and to get that first place, then I feel as if you're really missing out on the point of your whole journey. If you step on stage and you don't get first place, does that mean that the past 16 weeks were wasted? I mean, think about it. Like, when I am preparing for that competition, it doesn't matter if I get second, third, or top 5, top 10, or even just first call out. What matters most is that I know that when I step on that stage, there was nothing else I could have done to look any different or to present myself any better on stage. For me personally, I think it's really important to enjoy the journey and to soak it up. That weekend is so magical and it's so rewarding. It is like all your hard work from all those months and all the years prior to that prep have come together to get you rocking that bikini on stage. So be proud of yourself. Make friends with the girls backstage. Don't see them as competition. It's just you versus you. One of the reasons why I really like the WBFF is to do with the friends and the people that you meet backstage. Everyone is so friendly, and the WBFF really pushes a family vibe, which is what I like. Like, you would think, it's a competition, everyone's going to be like scary and catty backstage, but it's not like that at all. Like, do not go into a competition thinking that you're better than anyone else or that you deserve first place and someone else doesn't. Just focus on being the best version of yourself and making friends. Take selfies, take photos, have fun, connect, share your stories with everyone, and just embrace and enjoy that whole weekend, because you've all worked so hard to get there that you deserve to have a laugh and to have fun. And honestly, if I could stress one thing to you about that show day, it's to make the most of every second, because you have spent months leading up to that show day, and then it's honestly gone so quickly. For WBFF, you have the morning show, you have a few hours in between, and then you have the night show, and then it's all done, and straight away it hits you. It makes you want to cry because you don't want to take your bikini off and you don't want to take your pretty dress off, because once you do, you're back to the grind, back to reality, and you'll understand it. Once you do the show, you're going to understand you don't want to take your bikini off. It's just the most incredible weekend, so soak it up and enjoy every moment of it. A lot of people ask me questions about competing, so I'm just gonna tick off a couple of things that are really commonly asked, and I know it's kind of awkward to talk about, but I know that a lot of you are probably watching this and you're thinking it, so here we go. First things first, boob jobs. Do you need one? No. Well, in WBFF, I believe that you don't need one. It is all about presentability, how you look on stage and how you present yourself. So it's not necessarily about the leanest body on stage or who has the biggest muscles on stage. It's about how you carry yourself on stage. Your marketability and your presentability is a massive thing about that. Whether you have fake boobs or not doesn't really matter. It's just how your overall package looks. So if you look at a lot of the pros in the WBFF, heaps of them do not have fake boobs, and honestly, just ask your bikini designer to add a lot of padding. I definitely don't have fake boobs, and when I compete and when I lean down, I lose a lot of fat from everywhere. You can't choose where your fat goes from. I know you all know this, so just make sure that you ask for a lot of padding in your bikini and be prepared that if you're not incredibly genetically gifted, then chances are your boobs are just going to shrink during your prep. The second thing I want to talk about in relation to competing is steroids, and I feel really awkward talking about this because I have no idea about them, but all I know is that you don't need to be taking them if you are a bikini girl. The WBFF is not drug tested, and there's lots of competitions out there that are not drug tested. And if you feel more confident in going into a tested kind of federation, then go for it. But honestly, I believe that to step on stage in the WBFF and to do well, you do not need to be taking anything. And I know that's just from my personal experience. I know that the hard work pays off. I've been weight training for I think almost 7 years now, and I have been eating and training really hard, and I don't have a lot of muscle, and I think that's what really lets me down in terms of like the difference between getting second or third place and getting first place. Each time I step on stage, my feedback has always been to build more muscle, and that for me is just a time game. But in terms of leaning down, like, you do not need anything, so don't feel like you can't compete because you don't want to take any extra helpers, you know? You do not need to do that. Just focus on your nutrition, focus on your training, and realize that progress takes time. Like, if you've just started going to the gym, then chances are you're probably not going to be ready to step on stage. Like, before I stepped on stage, I'd already been training for, I think, about 5 years, maybe 4 years. So just be patient with it. Just know that progress takes time, whether it's fat loss or muscle gain. Know that you don't need to take anything extra. I would like to believe that a lot of the pros out there that compete in the Bikini Diva are natural, and I just know that I can lean down without it, so you can too. It just takes a lot of consistency. If that's something that you're kind of scared of and you're worried about competing because you think that you need that, I truly believe that in the WBFF you do not need that. Patience, consistency, hard work, and years of training will get you there. And I would like to say that one day I hope that when I do step on stage, maybe one day, not that it's about the placings, but maybe one day I'll get to the point where the judges think, damn, this girl looks insane. When it comes to supplements, the supplements I take for prep are creatine, OxyShred, the thermogenic fat burner with acetyl, pre-workout, Beyond BCAAs, and glutamine during my workout. And then after a workout, I usually have a carb type meal with protein. If I'm in a rush, I might have like a protein smoothie, or I'll just stick to my meal. I prefer to eat my food as opposed to like having protein shakes and things. All of my supps I use are from EHP Labs. Other questions I get are, how do you know when you're ready to compete? Honestly, I don't think that you're ever going to truly just know, like, oh, I'm so ready to step on stage right now. I feel as if it's something you start to think about. So maybe you kind of been thinking of it for a few months now. You found this video and you were kind of like, oh yeah, that sounds like me, I want to do it. And you've been thinking of it for a while. If you've been thinking about something and you can't stop thinking about it, I feel like that's a good sign that you need to do it. It doesn't matter whether you are a mom or you're a full-time nurse or policewoman, whatever it is. I know that it's never going to be like the right time to prep, and it's always going to be a challenge. It's not going to be smooth sailing, but if you can't stop thinking about it and you really want to do it, then I believe that, I guess, you'll just find a way to make it possible and to make it happen, and you will step on that stage and you will shine. I really wanted to touch on choosing a coach. So I think that the coach that you choose will either make or break your competition experience. I have seen so many posts on Instagram from girls that talk really negative about competing and how unhealthy it is, but I truly don't believe that competing is unhealthy. Like, yes, it can be unhealthy, and yes, it can be hard to get to the stage, but there's no need for you to be doing hours and hours of cardio. There's no need for you to be starving yourself. There's no need for you to be miserable the whole way through your prep. Like, yeah, it's not always going to be easy, but choosing the right coach will really help make things so much easier. So when it comes to choosing a coach, I really recommend choosing one that can do your nutrition, your training, and your posing all in one. It's just nice to have everything kept in one place, and it also makes it a lot easier for check-ins. It makes it more cost effective if they can do everything. It saves you getting 3 different coaches, and in general, I would really recommend that you ask them, you jump on a video call with them and you ask them all the questions you have that are burning inside you. So what are their protocols for training? What's their protocols for cardio? Do they prefer to do more cardio? Are they more strength-based? Are they a steps-based kind of coach? And if so, like, how many steps do they think that they're going to increase you to? Because me personally, I don't want to be like stressing about having to hit 20,000 steps every day. I personally like to eat carbs on prep, and I want to know that the coach they go to isn't going to make me drink like 10 liters of water during my peak week. I want to know that they're going to give me a test peak week weeks before the actual peak week. So just make sure that you feel confident and you trust the coach that you've chosen, because a relationship without trust in anything is never going to work. Like if you're constantly kind of worried about what they're giving you, then chances are you either need to talk to them and sort that out, or you need to find a new coach. I feel as if there's so much more I could talk about when it comes to competing, but I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. If you're watching this and you are looking forward to doing your first show, or you're kind of just still thinking about it and you have any questions at all, please comment them. I am here to help. I'll either reply in the comments or I'll just do a part 2 of this video, because I created this YouTube channel to share my thoughts, to share my journey with you, and all I want to do is just help more of you achieve your goals and feel the best you can. So if you are preparing for a show, good luck. Make sure you shine on that stage and really just enjoy the weekend. And if you are unsure about competing, I hope to hear from you, because I would love to answer any questions that you have. As always, if you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and smile.